Hello and welcome, everyone. Welcome to another Solution Sunday, where the soul is the solution. I am Lisa Warner, and I am here this morning with my dear friend, Catherine Mary Winkler. And we're going to talk today about we have to be able to know ourselves in order to heal ourselves. We have everything we need right inside, but if we don't know ourselves, we can't access all of the powers that we do possess. So Catherine is a scholar. She is someone who has been diving deep into this process of healing herself by knowing herself. So Catherine, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Lisa. Yes,
So
know thyself. That is a very, very important concept because without that, you go nowhere. You go nowhere. And the self that you have to know is within you. It's within you. And in your teachings, you talk about the globe, you know?
Yeah, our personal energy field.
Yes, exactly. You talk about the globe, the personal energy field. You really have to take good care of that. And you say everything outside of that globe is Shakespeare's theater. What is within that globe is your concern, and you have to deal with it. You know, yes. So, but many of us are still dependent on information coming at us. Information coming at us from our environment, from our schools, from the clergymen, from the hospitals, from everywhere, really. Yes, and we really have to guard against those things coming in, letting only the things that are useful to you, and go within, stay within, look after that inner garden.
Exactly.
Yes.
From childhood, we're taught that we have to listen to everybody else. Listen to your mother, listen to your father, listen to your teacher, listen to the doctors. But it's really true that we have all of the answers right inside. There's
Yes.
nobody else who knows us better than ourselves.
Yes.
But we're taught to give up our seniority. We're taught that other people know better and that we need to do what they say. But
Yes.
unfortunately, that doesn't lead us in the direction of health and well-being.
No, it doesn't. And you're talking about how we're taught to listen to the teacher, listen to the clergyman, listen to the doctor, all these people that are external to us. Listen to this environmental noise. Yes. And we forget that we have to go inside. In fact, sometimes we don't even know it. Many people don't know that there is another world that is inside of us, and that is the real world.
Exactly.
What is outside is just child's play, really.
Yeah, it's what's outside is the projection of what's inside.
Yes.
And we've
Yes.
just been taught what to have on the inside. Think this, do this. These are the rules. This is what you have to do. And
Yes.
then we just create this internal environment of dis-ease.
Exactly.
Living in this state of discomfort and fear and doubt and guilt and shame and worry. And then those things get projected onto this view screen of the external reality. And then we go, oh, see, that's the way it is. But that's not the way it is at all.
That is not the way it is.
Have to be.
Yes, and what I was going to add to that, Lisa, is that all these things that we have from the outside, actually, we use that to create a mental dialogue inside of us.
Exactly.
And I'm not good enough. I'm not thin enough. I'm not beautiful enough. I'm not clever enough. I'm not. And every time we do that, we're actually diminishing our own power.
Exactly.
But we use the external stimuli to create this mental dialogue inside that is actually diminishing us. And the trick is to lose the noise outside and stay within and create with your imagination. You know, create with your imagination, make choices.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we have been taught since childhood that, oh, that's just your imagination. That doesn't count. That's not real. But unfortunately, our imagination is the thing, it's the tool that we use to see the non-physical. It's the
Yes,
tool of creation. It's how we create.
exactly.
Everything in this physical realm has been created from nothing, meaning our imagination, we imagine first, then we focus on it, and then we bring it into our reality.
Yes.
Just like the couch you're sitting on, somebody imagined that to begin with,
Mhm.
and then they created it. But
Yeah.
so that's how the process of creation actually works. But we're
Yes.
just told what to imagine.
Yes.
Imagine this, doom, gloom, terrible things happening in the external world. Imagine, focus, focus. And then we just create it. And we
Yes.
don't know that we're creating it.
Yes. Yes, exactly. And because a lot of this internal dialogue that we have with ourselves, um, uh, really, we do it unknowingly.
Yeah.
Because it's like we're on automatic pilot. So what I do in my own life, it's like I have another me that is above me here, that is checking every thought that is passing through my mind every single hour of the day. You wouldn't believe it. In the beginning, it was hard work. And one time I gave myself a task to speak only in the positive and write only in the positive. So it was just a mental exercise and it was a lot of fun, but it was hard work actually. And I saw how difficult it is to get away from the programming.
Mm.
Yes, but a simple exercise like that, it's a little game that I play. I play with myself every now and again. You know, I usually set myself tasks. Okay, so today you won't do this and this and this, and today you'll do this and this and this, or today you will exclude this, and today you will include this. And that is just for me to set my own boundaries, you know, to set my own boundaries and not allow, because if you do not set your own boundaries and you leave yourself open, you are actually absorbing everything in your environment, and that may not be good for you. You know,
Exactly.
you're accepting all their labels, and with each label comes a trajectory or a prognosis and whatever, you know, and these things can scare us to death. And they're only just thoughts, but we let ourselves open and these thoughts come into us from our environment. Yes.
Exactly.
I also find, Lisa, that the reason that some people let themselves open is, well, one, lack of awareness, you know, not having the consciousness to focus on yourself and to go within. And another thing is that people don't read these days.
Mm.
There are so many books, you know, your book, The Simplicity of Healing, books by Joe Dispenza, Escape the System, A Course in Miracles, Becoming Supernatural. There's so many books out there. And these books require studying. I use the word studying deliberately, not reading. Why? Because you do have to read the material at least 33 times for it to become your own. That's what the research says.
Oh.
So, you know, we're used to reading something and then you say, oh, I've read it. I've read Khalil Gibran. I've read this. I've read Lisa. No, you haven't. You've looked at it, because reading means studying it. What does that mean? That means when the first time I read your book, I was not the same person I am sitting here now. Really, I was not. So the first time I read your book, I understood lots of things. And as I practiced some of those things, I became different. I became elevated to another level. And the second time I read your book, I saw things that I didn't see the first time, because now, having practiced a little bit of it, I am a different person. I am elevated and my mind is different. I have connected some dots and I was like, oh, whoa, what is this? And I haven't finished with that book yet because I've only done the third reading.
Wow.
It doesn't mean that I have to sit there and read it 3 times. No, no, no. I read it today and then maybe I let it go. I have like several books on the go all the time. But this is important. This is important because we have to have the knowledge. And from this knowledge, we can connect the dots to gain wisdom. Without that, nothing goes. We must not. And also I noticed that people say there are lots of things on the internet. You can go on the internet and find this and that and that. And I have found that this is not so currently, because some of the information I am looking for isn't there. And what I find is absolutely untrue.
Yeah.
Absolutely untrue. And I'm reading this and I'm thinking, oh my God. And people are going to read this and think it is valid when it isn't. And that is the reason why we have to go back to our books. So you see, reading actually helps you to develop. And when you have a lot of knowledge, you can connect the dots and you are able to see the bigger picture. You know, it's not just reading any books, but I read books on personal development, self-development, spirituality, that sort of thing, healing. Yes, that sort of thing. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For such a long time, you know, as a very little girl, I was just fully connected to the space of being, the space of unconditional love, the space that always exists forever and ever. And I realized that that space is what's actually real. That's the space of being. And when I would look at this planet, it was like, people on this planet are not living according to natural laws. They're not living in the space of being. They're not living in peace and harmony and love and ease. And it was really, really confusing to me as to how to fit into this dysfunctional world. And for so long, I was trying to make sense of things on this planet, and just like nothing made sense until, gosh, it was like in my 30s when I really started my awakening process. And I read a book by Cryon, by Lee Carroll. And in that book, it said, you create your own reality. And in that moment, it was just like, bam, light bulbs going off, sounds, my whole body just opened up. And I knew instantly that that was truth. It was like, wow, that's the only thing that has made any sense to me at all. And I was like, and I knew in that moment that that was my mission, was to find out how we create our own reality, because I knew that that was true. And you can, when we start to have this discernment, we feel the truth in our bodies. We feel it with ourselves, and we feel the falseness in our bodies as well. But then we mistake that falseness for fear or doubt or guilt or shame. And it's just our body saying, no, you're looking in the wrong direction. You're looking at something that's not true. But we don't have that discernment to notice that, oh, wait a second, there's something else here to look at.
Yes, yes, yes. And also, when we started this conversation, you said something about, you know, we both actually agreed on that, about the environment coming into our space and crowding us, you know, preventing you from listening to your inner voice. And for some people, they don't even know they have an inner voice, you know, that is talking to them. I think you can call that the sixth sense or superconscious mind or whatever. But you know, the thing is, when you submit completely, fully to the noise that is coming from outside, and you don't look within, and you don't read empowering books, then what happens is you lose your self-esteem.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is not good.
Mhm.
Losing your self-esteem, I think, causes us to then attract um, things we don't really want in our lives. But because we have no self-esteem or very low self-esteem, um, the circumstances, the environment, the people around us actually change to reflect our low self-esteem.
Yeah,
And that can lead to so many things. So it is very, very important to know yourself and go within, and shut out the noise that is coming from outside. Yes, we need to be able to do that.
exactly. When we start to look at this planet and see how the game is played here, kind of the entire game is to make us forget who we are, because we are grand creator beings. We are powerful beings, but powerful beings can't be controlled. And the
Mm-hmm.
whole game here is that there are people who have been in control of this planet for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's time for us to start being in control of ourselves.
Yes.
There's literally nothing that we need to control when we are fully connected to source.
Mm-hmm.
We become creative, we become happy, we want to create things and have meaningful lives and meaningful conversations and explore the beauty of this planet.
Mm-hmm.
And when we're in that space of curiosity and openness and excitement and enthusiasm, everything we need just comes to us. All
Yes.
the opportunities drop in, all the people that will support us drop in,
Yes.
all the books that we need to read, that will be a delight and open our consciousness, fall off the shelf.
Yes.
They
Yes.
appear. There's
Yes.
nothing that we need to control, but we have
Yes.
to realize that we as humanity have been controlled for a very, very long time.
We have
And
been handled, actually.
exactly, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And, this is why it's so important for us to re-educate ourselves, to start reading, to start looking in other places other than just sitting in front of the boob tube. They call it a boob tube for a reason. And so instead of just absorbing all of the information that is being flung at us on a daily basis and then just reacting, oh, I better go do this, I better go do this because they tell me to, we can literally start to tap in and we can start to see all the powers that we have.
Yes.
Everything we need is inside.
Yes.
Our bodies are designed to heal themselves
Yes.
without pills, without fear, without waiting,
Yes.
without co-pays, without
Yes.
pre-approvals. We can literally just heal ourselves. But we can't do that when we're in fear. We can't do that when we're listening to somebody else tell us what's wrong with us. We
Mm-hmm.
have to start discerning for ourselves. This was the entire message that I learned firsthand when I found myself facing quote unquote cancer. And I was in fear, I was worried, but I looked at the medical model and realized that chemotherapy, that was really scary to me. It seemed barbaric.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, I can't do that. My entire body was screaming at me, no, don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided that I was going to trust myself. I was decided that I needed to learn how to be masterful with
Yes.
myself. I
Yes.
needed to learn how to create the relationship with my body in which I could heal myself, where my body would just automatically rebalance itself. And I knew that if I could heal myself from one thing, I could heal from anything. And
Yes.
when I got quiet and I started to look inside, it became completely obvious to me My body wasn't being attacked by some killer disease. My body was responding to my emotional state, which was fear, doubt, worry, guilt, shame. I was living in this state of absolute just dis-ease within myself. And when I addressed that and started to rebalance myself, my body rebalanced itself automatically. And I
Yes,
realized that the entire time my body was doing exactly what it needed to do to help
exactly.
me through that time of trauma.
Yes.
And our bodies are always on our side. And it's up to us to discern that. It's up to us to learn how to manage ourselves,
Yes.
body, mind, and soul, bringing all three parts back into alignment.
Quite. You mentioned just a bit ago, you mentioned something about us being creators. We do create our world through our imagination and through our this inner dialogue that can we can imagine and create, so that that projects itself, and then our outside world becomes that which we had imagined.
Exactly.
Now, the thing is, I want to mention here, in A Course in Miracles, I'm sure you're familiar with that book. Yeah, A Course in Miracles, in lesson 192, it tells us why we're here. And it mentions exactly what you said. God created us to bring the formless into form. We are one with the creative energy of the world. We are one with the creative energy of the world. And that creative energy we can access only when we go within and shut out the noise, shut out all the programming. Actually, some of the programming is so entrenched in us that sometimes it's there and you don't even know it's there, and you're just on autopilot. You just do it unconsciously.
Yep.
Well, we are master creators. We are one with the creative energy of the world. And that's what we have to understand. And once you go within, there's nothing you cannot do. So knowing that we're one with this creative energy, God said, let there be light, and there was light. And it says also in the Bible somewhere, I'm not so good with this anymore, but there was a time when I was very good at quoting and telling you which section of the Bible something came from. But now I'm not so, I'm not on top of things anymore with that. But in the Bible, it says something about if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to the mountain, move, and the mountain will move.
Exactly.
And I have seen that happen in my life so many times, that again, when you go within and you practice, you become stronger, because you see the evidence of your own creative imagination. You see, oh my God, I created that, and you want more of the same. So you keep going within to look for more, and then you have all these plans, all these things, and you become a more I wouldn't say, okay, maybe I should rephrase this. Not a more important person in society, but giving more contribution to society, if you like, either in art, in music, in health, as you're doing, in fashion, and so many other things. And we start making a contribution, and we get inspired from within to create, because we are one with the creative energy of the world.
Exactly. Yeah, I always talk about, as souls, we are created in divine perfection, and
Yes.
every soul is created completely uniquely.
Yes.
We all have our totally unique gifts and talents and likes and experiences, and we all have something to contribute to this society. And if we don't know ourselves, then we can't contribute what we came here to contribute. We can't sing our soul song. We can't live in our joy. We're not here to suffer on this planet.
Yeah.
We're not here to make war. We're not here to harm. We are here to empower and inspire and to live in harmony, to help this beautiful planet return to her pristine nature. This is the essence of all healing, is to restore our pristine nature.
Exactly.
So in order to do that, we have to know what our pristine nature is.
Yes.
We have to know ourselves.
Yes, we have to know who we truly are. Yes. I want to add to that, Lisa. You see, once you know that and you begin to see the results of your own creative energy, you actually, that improves your self-esteem.
Absolutely.
No end. It improves it lifts you up to another level. And what happens then? You contribute more to society. And as you contribute more to society, you feel better about yourself. You feel better about yourself, you do good. You do good, you feel good, and you act properly. And it is just like a spiral. You're in this vortex and you're going up, and your vibration just keeps going up and up and up. And then you live in another world, really. And all the things that are going on around you, it's like, oh, really? you don't get it because you're so out of it.
Yeah.
You're so out of it.
Exactly.
And yes.
Yeah, as soon as we elevate ourselves a little bit, not being better than, simply raising our vibration, we raise our vibration above the noise, the chaos, the confusion, and we stop participating in the war and the disease and the breaking people down and the struggle. And we start living just with that living life force energy flowing to us and through us, that creativity, and life becomes really, really fun. There's like a completely different way of being on this planet, where we are a contribution to each other and to the planet.
Yes. Yes. I'd like to touch a little bit on the role that meditation plays in this, because every time we end our sessions, nearly every session with you ends with a meditation. And the sitting in meditation or practicing meditation or going into meditation allows you to go within, to be in touch with that inner self, with that God force that is inside of you, with that creative energy. So meditation is actually very important. And there are so many different kinds, but people can choose whatever is suitable for them. I like the rose, I like the globe, I like the blessing of the energy centers. I like Joe Dispenza's formula, but I also, I have to tell you something that happened to me with meditation. Very many years ago, I don't know how many years ago now, I used to drink coffee in the morning. I would wake up in the morning and I would go straight to the kitchen to make, I used to wake up like 4 o'clock in the morning because I needed like a block of time for myself that nobody else can make prior claim to. So it was like 4 o'clock in the morning for me to like 8 o'clock. That was my time for myself. And so I will wake up and I'll potter around. I will think bright thoughts and I'll write them all down. But the first thing I'll do, I'll go to the kitchen and make a cup of coffee. And then I'll take my coffee to the bathroom and smoke a cigarette. And then, listen to this, I did that for years. Since I was a student to, I don't know which age it was when this happened to me. And then one day I got something, a freebie or an advertisement in my inbox. And it was this Indian man talking and chuckling to himself. And he was so interesting that I thought, oh, I'll listen to this. So I went to his website and I found this meditation that he was offering. And it's called Isha Kriya. And the man I'm talking about is Sadhguru. Yes. And so I decided, okay, he said, oh, if you do Isha Kriya, you go within, it will change your life in ways that you cannot imagine. And he said something, habits that no longer serve you will fall away and you will develop new habits. And I thought, what? Okay, I said, this is worth trying. But I didn't follow the meditation properly. I would get up and go to the kitchen to get something, and then I come and sit back down again. And I didn't take it seriously. But I thought I'd do it for the duration of the time. Like he said, 3 months. I thought, yeah, I'll do it for 3 months. Well, what happened to me next was nothing short of miraculous. A few days after I started this meditation, not actually practicing it properly, getting up, not shutting my eyes and adjusting myself on my seat and all that, I went to the kitchen in the morning to make my usual coffee, and it didn't smell good. So I poured my coffee down the sink, and I decided I'll take Chris's coffee. That smelled even worse. And then I remembered that, I had some French coffee. I'll try that because it was French coffee with hazelnut, and, that must be really nice. And that also smelled like, I thought, oh, what's going on? So I poured all the coffee down the thing, and I thought, well, anyway, I've spent enough time on coffee this morning, so it seems I'm not going to have coffee today. So I went out to do my exercise. And the next day, the same thing happened. And the next day, and the next day. And then I thought, okay, maybe something's happened to the coffee. I should go shopping and get new coffee. Something must have happened here, but I didn't know what. I didn't think about the Sadhguru at the time. And then after about a week, I realized that I didn't smoke, and I couldn't even stand the smell of cigarette smoke. The habit fell away, the coffee fell away. So I don't drink coffee, and I'm like, oh, wow. I could not believe it. And that is even with me not doing the practice properly. And that something went ding, meditation is important. So, and even if sometimes I'm falling asleep, I don't mind falling asleep with my meditation on, because it's like it's going into my subconscious. So I keep doing it. So meditation is very important for going within, and things clear themselves up for you. You don't really have to do anything. You don't have to force anything. It just happens. Exactly. It just happens.
Effortless.
Yes.
Precisely.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is why we don't have to try to control anything. You didn't have to try to control yourself to quit smoking and make it a big, it literally is effortless. Once we make a choice to raise our vibration, to open our consciousness, to expand our awareness, everything falls into place effortlessly. Everything we need shows up for us. The entire universe is here to serve us.
Yes, that is precisely correct. And again, I was so amazed by this. And then there was another completely different meditation that I did from a guy called Bert Goldman, an American. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how I came across him, but he advocates something called quantum jumping. Again, it seemed interesting, and I decided to try it. I used to be very untidy because because we had a room that was the box room, and in there I can go and make my mess and shut the door. I never actually would put things back in their place and stuff, because I always, I started dressing up from my feet. So I'd pick my shoes and then decide, and I pick my shoes depending on my activities of the day, and then I'll pick a jacket and trousers and things and put something together, and then I'll look at it and no, this is not good, and I'll fling that one, and then I'll take something else. So I would make a pile of stuff before leaving the house, but then I would shut the door behind me. So, if you didn't go in there, you wouldn't know. So Chris was complaining about this untidiness, and I said, well, you don't need to go in there. There's nothing of yours in there. It's just my stuff. And then one time I thought, no, that's not good. You can do something. You can be better. You can do something about this and not just say it's your stuff, So I decided, okay, if it bothers him, there's probably something I ought to do about it. So I decided to try Bert Goldman's meditation called quantum jumping. So I jumped to a twin self that was completely tidy. And now I couldn't be untidy if I wanted to. If I tried, it is not possible. I put everything back in its place before I leave. I will never, ever not put my stuff, jewelry, everything goes back in the, and again, I was amazed. I was amazed at the transformation in my body. And it's the same thing that happens when you decide you want to heal yourself.
Exactly.
The very same that happens. You don't really have to do anything. Just sit in meditation. Choose one. Sit in meditation. The globe, the rose, Sadhguru, Joe Dispenza, the blessing of the energy centers. Just sit in meditation and practice and see what happens for you. See what turns up for you.
Yeah, to start to see that there's literally nothing wrong with us.
Yes.
There's literally nothing wrong with the body, ever. The body is always in service to us. Our body is always doing exactly what it needs to do to survive.
Yes.
But when we're sending it messages of, I'm not okay, we're in danger, the body responds to that. So we have to start noticing the environment that we're providing for the body. We have to start raising our vibration above the chaos and the noise and the confusion. And when we're living in that space of being, like, life literally becomes effortless. And we stop running to the doctors, looking for answers, asking people to fix us, when everything is inside.
Yes.
And I love that you're using this explanation, because I have been in this space of, gosh, I really need to be, step into this space where I'm just more tidy, where I have a little more organization. So I've been thinking about this, and I have a friend who, one of my friends and students, who is a professional organizer, and I sent her a note the other day. I was like, hey, let's have a conversation, because I need to, change my mindset around this. And now here you are saying, hey, you can just quantum jump into the version of yourself that is already tidy. And I was like, oh, there's my answer right there. See, I didn't have to go look for it. We didn't have this conversation. You had no idea that I had been thinking about this. But the universe just sends us everything we need completely effortlessly.
Yes. But the thing is that we have to make a choice. We have to have a definite plan. You have to say, this is what my intention is. You have to have that intention, and you have to hold it. You have to hold it in faith. You have to hold it in faith. And faith is believing or knowing that it's happened already, even though you haven't seen it, and acting as though it is already there. That's what it is. But we think, first I have to see it to believe it. And but that's so not true. That's backwards.
Exactly.
First, and then you see it.
Exactly.
You have to create it first in your imagination. I was listening to Neville Goddard some time ago, and I remember that he said, everything exists already. Everything exists already. Your healthy, vibrant, radiant self also exists. You just have to get yourself to the place where you are aligned with that self.
Exactly.
And that's what you need to do. And you have to know that the God force in you, when you turn to that God force in you and you speak to it, it's going to help you do everything. In fact, not help you, it's going to do everything for you.
Precisely.
So everything becomes effortless. Like you say, things come your way, and say, oh, that's precisely what I needed. And it's just there. It's just there. You didn't have to go struggle and dig and push and shove and pull. No, you didn't have to do that. It just comes. Just come. Because that God force in you is working for you and is bringing the things that you need, lining all your ducks for you.
Exactly. The universe is here matching our every expectation.
Yes.
So when we make a choice and we choose to be a different version of ourselves,
Yes.
We simply expect that to happen. And
Yes.
the universe just completely rearranges itself.
Yes.
So anything we desire, this is how we create. It's not about creating the stuff. It's about, the stuff is already there. The experience is, everything that we desire
Yeah.
is already available. We
Yeah.
just have to bring ourselves into alignment. We have to become the version of ourselves that has the thing that we want. So
Exactly.
whether it's the radiant health or the organizational skills, or if you want to create something. I remember when I lived in Aspen, Colorado, I moved to Aspen, Colorado with $1,500 and a Toyota Corolla. And it's probably one of the most expensive places to live in the world. And I saw this is way back in the 90s, I saw when I moved there, I saw the real estate prices going up, 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 up. And I thought, wow, if I could just get into the real estate market, I would have a place to live and my money would accumulate. I would do well. So I set that intention. And then after I'd saved up enough money that I probably had enough for a down payment, and I said, all right, now I'm going to go buy a condo. I want to buy something in the free market, meaning that there was employee housing where you could buy a lower cost thing, but it would only appreciate in value 3% per year. But the
Mhm.
real estate market was going up 15-20% per year. I was like, well, this doesn't make sense. And everybody said, no, you can't, you can't afford that. You can't do that. You can't buy something in the free market. I was like, yeah, I actually can. And you don't have enough money. You can't do this. I said, you know what? Something's going to happen because this is what I'm doing. And I just held the vision. I knew for certain that that's what I was going to do. Something was going to open up. And one day my realtor called, said, grab your jacket. I'm coming to get you. Something just came on the market. And bam, the pieces just fell right in place.
Yes. Yes.
It's like,
Yes. And you created all that.
absolutely.
You created all of that.
Yeah,
You
I
created
didn't
all of
realize
that
it at the
by
time.
exactly by staying constant,
Yep.
not allowing the noise of others trying to dissuade you, telling you, oh, you don't have enough money, you cannot do this, you cannot, you cannot, you cannot, you cannot. You just, yeah, I can.
Yeah.
So you were able to do it. If you had given in to all those things coming at you,
Yep.
then you would never have been able to do it.
Exactly.
That would have been your vibration. That's lower, I can't do, I'm so poor. That would have been your vibration and you would never have been able to get it. Yes.
Precisely.
Yes. Yeah.
And the same thing happened when I decided to heal myself from this cancer, quote unquote. And I just decided that I was going to become masterful with myself.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to become the master of my own body. And
Mm-hmm.
I knew that if I became masterful with my own body and was able to bring my own body back into balance, I would never have to rely on anybody else for my health ever again. And that's exactly what happened.
Yes.
I can, if I break an arm, I would certainly be more than happy to have somebody set it and and give me a cat. I can have other people assist me, but
Yes.
I'm the one that's doing it.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
also the one that can create not ever having to break an arm.
Exactly. Yes. 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 You set your intention. Well, I am this, and that's it. If you say I am X, that X is what you actually are.
Yeah.
And you have set that X as an intention, and it stays with you until you change or decide on something else. And for me, that's really interesting. And again, I did a really fun thing in my early 20s. I used fashion. I used fashion as a way to access that inner God force, really. And in the beginning, when I thought about it, it didn't make any sense. It didn't look like it would work or it would make any sense. But I decided that fashion is a way that I would go to raise my self-esteem, to raise my self-esteem, because you look good, you feel good, you act good, etc. So I decided to do that. And pretty soon I found myself again in this spiral going up and with elevated vibration. And you know what happened then?
What?
Everything I wanted came my way. And my colleagues, I had a colleague that was so jealous, and she one day came to me and said, Catherine, I've been meaning to ask you a question. And I said, yes. And she said to me, how does a girl from Africa get to have such good boundaries around her? And I thought, huh? What do you mean? And then she says, well, everything Catherine wants, Catherine gets. And I said, I don't understand what you mean. She said, well, you can do whatever you like in this institution. Nobody ever says anything to you. But if any of the others or any of us try to do what you're doing, nothing goes. So I'd like to know, how does a girl like you create such good boundaries around you? And honestly, I couldn't answer the question at the time. I thought, what a daft question. I didn't create any boundaries around me. I'm just living. That's what I said to her. I didn't create anything. I'm just living. I'm just doing. I'm just being. I'm not doing anything. And then she said something really interesting. She said, when I saw you at first, I thought you were just all painted fingernails and lipstick and nothing else. And then I got to know you and I realized that there was something about you. And I said, well, there is nothing other than just being me. And I realize now that that was me being in contact with the inner self, that God force inside of me that helped, that caused that to happen. I was right. I wasn't doing anything. So when she asked me, I thought, what a daft question. What is that? I did not understand it at the time. I thought, that's stupid. I don't do anything. I'm just being me. I don't understand what you're talking about. And so now I know, for me, because I've seen all these examples in my life, it is very easy for me to go within and stay there and really stay there and trust. And it doesn't matter what it looks like outside. It doesn't matter how much it's pouring down. I know I'm safe. I know that I'm whole. I know I'm complete. I know I only need to go to speak to that God force inside of me to make things happen. So I don't have any fear. I don't have any angst. I am not worried and biting my nails. And no, I'm just being.
Exactly. You know, and when we just be, it becomes very easy to see when others are trying to manipulate us because it doesn't feel good. And we start to realize, wait a second, I don't need to follow other people's rules. And like, I get to live in full alignment and harmony with myself. And nobody else can tell me that I have to do this or I can't do that. It's like, no, we are here to express ourselves and be in full harmony. And the beautiful thing is that when we get to know ourselves, we start to realize that we are this God force energy. This is who and what we are. We are the creator itself, using this beautiful life force energy to be all that we can be on this planet. And
Yes.
all that we can be is happy and healthy and harmony and peace and love and joy. And when we start living as who we truly are, life becomes this beautiful, magical experience of community because we want as many people around us as possible who are in the same vibration. And we
Yes.
start to gather community around us. And then the community, other people start gathering. And this is
Yes.
how we change the world. We can change an entire planet by being ourselves.
Yes. 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 You have to be, that's the change that you want to see. I think that's a rather cliched saying right now, but you have to be the change you want to see, or something like that.
Exactly.
Be the
Yes.
change you want to see in the world.
Yes.
Yes. So really, you once you know you have access to that God force, again, you're relaxed, you easygoing, you pleasant, you polite, you kind, you gentle, and all of that comes back to you multiplied and folded over, you know. And it's and life becomes so much fun,
It
so
does.
much fun. Unexpected things happen, and it's like, oh wow, wow, wow. And you, it's like fireworks going off all over the place, and your life is just one big adventure. It's just that sometimes we don't notice that which is right in front of us, and the reason we don't notice is because we are so invested in the outer world.
Mhm.
You know, we're so invested in the outer world, and we're thinking about all those other things, and we're not really going inside. I think for me, this knowing thyself is a journey inside of you. You really have to make that journey. You have to go within and stay
Exactly.
there.
Yes. And
Yeah.
you have a beautiful self-healing story about being centered and being able to heal yourself without fear, without worry,
Yes.
just simply by knowing
Yes.
that you are healthy and whole.
Yes. 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 Because again, it goes back to that internal dialogue. If you begin to tell yourself you're sick, you're this, then that is what is going to externalize. But if you've chosen, and your dialogue is different, your conversation with yourself is different, and you are doing things differently, and you are with that vibrant, radiant health, that's what is going to manifest in your world. That's what's going to be on the outside in your reality.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yes.
exactly. And
Yeah.
that always confounds the doctors and nurses, and they don't really have at this point much to, you know, they kind of look at people like, who are you? Why are you doing this? Like, you need to do exactly what we tell you.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. You have to submit to this treatment and submit to that procedure, and when you say, well, wait a minute. Oh, I did ask a question once. I asked, they asked me to do oh yeah, it was surgery that they wanted me to do, and because they wanted to take some tissues out or something, and they explained the procedure. I just sat there like this and I listened. I listened well. I was a polite little girl. And when they finished, and I said, thank you, but could you please explain how this is going to improve my condition? And they looked at one another like, improve your condition? What's that?
Right.
We're not here to improve your condition. We just want tissues of you.
Right. Exactly.
And then I said, well, if that's not going to improve my condition, I'm afraid I'm going to have to decline. And he was like, oh, okay. And then they started sending me letters and this and that, and always saying that the patient refuses treatment, the patient refuses this, the patient refuses that. And now when I receive these things, I just look at them and I say, oh, toss. Yes, yes. But also they're really amazed at what has happened to me. Like, how did you do this? What is happening? How did you do this? How did you, and also what gave you the power to just not do anything and be normal like you are? Well, inside, the God within me, the God force within me is what gave me the power. And I don't have to force anything. I just have to be. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
when we just simply be who we truly are,
Yeah.
we bring all the parts of ourselves back into alignment. We bring
That's true.
body, mind, and soul into coherence.
Yes.
You know, the external world is based on chaos and confusion and control. And
Yes.
that doesn't engender coherence. It
No, not at
engenders
all.
incoherence.
Yes.
So when we know ourselves, we can create those boundaries that you were talking about,
Mhm.
because we just stand firmly in who it is that we are. Just knowing ourselves
Mhm.
automatically generates boundaries where we don't allow ourselves to be pushed around or coerced by the external world into doing things that we know are not right for us.
Mhm. Yes. Yeah. And I think that is maybe the single most important thing that people should learn to do. If you want to have any success in life whatsoever, you really need to be able to access that um, spirit within you, that God force within you, because without that, nothing goes. You can try to push and pull and manipulate everything on the outside. As Joe Dispenza says, matter trying to fix matter. It may work, but it will take a very, very long time. But going within and using that God force always works. And it's so easy. It's effortless, as you said.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's when we just get to shine. It's like then we become these radiant beings, because we are literally beings of light and love.
Yeah.
And when we are in coherence and in alignment,
Yes.
we just radiate
Yes.
life
Yes.
from us. Life
Yes.
is flowing to us and through us. And this is when we get to really live on
Yes.
this planet. This is
Yes.
how to live. We're not here to just survive life. We're here
Yes.
to really live.
Yes. Yes. And yeah, it was interesting, this thing about creating boundaries, because I didn't understand it. Like, I didn't create any boundaries. I'm just being. But yeah, this is very, very interesting. And I think that anyone who wants any amount of success in any area of life really needs to go within and do the work. Yes.
Exactly.
Mm.
The entire universe is inside. We
Mhm.
access all the power of the universe from inside.
Mhm.
The health, the wealth, the wisdom, all of it is
Mhm.
inside.
Yes, very true.
Tuning in.
Yes, tuning in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow. This is just, I love this conversation. I love speaking to people who really have been doing the inner work and
Yes.
really understand the importance and the power of tuning in and
Yes.
knowing themselves.
Yes. And Lisa, what I've been trying to do during the conversation to show all the different routes that you can take to go within. I mean, I used fashion, I used quantum jumping, I used the rose, the globe, I used Sadhguru's meditation, all to go within. So there's so many different tools that we have at our disposal to help us to get inside. And once you make that intention, that clear intention that you really want to do this, you want to get within and connect, it happens. And then your life becomes magic.
Exactly. It's
Yes,
beautiful. Oh my gosh.
yeah,
It's such a beautiful transformation. Just all of a sudden you just realize that, wow, life is amazing.
yes,
And we start living at this whole new level of being.
yes,
It really truly is magical.
yeah,
Wow. And you get to connect with beautiful, amazing souls all over the
exactly,
world. Catherine is in
exactly.
Europe and I
Mhm.
am in the United States,
Yes,
and the universe brought us together
yes,
because like attracts like.
yes, yes. And I really love that, you know, um, sometimes it's amazing the way people come into your life. For example, the way you came into my life, it was just amazing. I just saw this woman, you were giving an interview and talking to someone, and I thought, who is she? And then I looked you up, and I thought, I saw your book, and I said, I'm buying that book. And then I bought the book. The book arrived like 2 days later, and I started reading it. And I was already reading your book when I contacted you.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, life just becomes really effortless and fun. And,
Yes.
your tribe just automatically starts growing and,
Yes.
creating community around ourselves.
Yes. And in creating this community, you really must not limit yourself. You really must not limit yourself. For example, I could have said, well, I know a lot of things about healing. I know a lot of things about this and that, and not bought your book, or not even got in touch with you. But when I saw the work that you were doing, I thought, this is a woman I have to get in touch with, So for me, that was important. It's important to not sort of close yourself off and think that you know enough.
Mhm.
You have to keep going. You have to keep expanding. You have to keep, you know, um, broadening your awareness, and then things happen for you. Yes.
Exactly. It's just
Yeah.
beautiful. I'm so grateful that you and I have come into contact and that we've been working together and learning and growing and having fun and having
Okay.
these beautiful conversations. And it's so nice to have community.
Yes, it is very nice.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Catherine, this has been such a beautiful conversation. Thank you
Yes.
so much for spending time with us today.
Thank you. Thank you. I have enjoyed it immensely. And even during this conversation, talking to you, things have come up, as you're speaking, things come up, and I think, okay, I make a mental note of that. I'll go look this up. I'll go. So yeah, you're just completely continuously expanding, and that's great. Thank you.
Exactly. And thank you for that awareness about, oh, I can just quantum jump into the neat and tidy, organized version of myself.
Yes.
I love it. So y'all stay tuned for some organizational skills from me. So fun. So
Okay.
speaking of that, next week, I am going to take a little hiatus. So we're not going to have Solution Sunday next week. So we'll be back in 2 weeks. So I'll put a little reminder out for everybody on Facebook so that you know not to tune in next week. So I've been here every Sunday for many, many, many weeks on end, and I'm just going to take one little vacation for myself next week. So
Great.
yes, so thank you, Catherine. Thank you so much for
Thank
being
you.
with us today. It's been
Thank you,
such a
Lisa.
pleasure.
For me too.
All
Thank you.
right. And thank you to everybody who has joined in on Facebook today, joining in live. And if you have any questions or want to add to the conversation, feel free to put some comments in. And if you are watching on YouTube, please subscribe to my channel. All right. So, and if you are looking for any assistance at all from me, please find me at connectingyoutoyou.com. And my book is called The Simplicity of Self-Healing, and it is on Amazon. So if I can be of any service, please feel free to reach out. Thank you all for joining us for another Solution Sunday, because the soul is the solution. So until 2 weeks from now, create for yourselves a couple of great weeks. Bye, everyone.
Bye.